أهلا بيكم أعزائي طلبة وطالبات الصف الثالث الإعدادي في حلقة جديدة من حلقات الساينس تحت رعاية وإشراف وزارة التربية والتعليم. last periods كنا بدأنا نتكلم على lenses and we started to differentiate between types of lenses. And we already covered all the types of and the images forms in the case of concave lenses. Convex lenses, and today we are going to start the second one, which is the second one of it, which is the concave lens. At the beginning, if you want to deal with the concave lenses, we are going to know how can, or the other name of these lenses. We said before that we have the name of the convex lenses كانت converging lens. Let's revise كده. The convex lens are converging lenses. طب what are the definitions? The definition of this type of lens, it's a transparent optical piece, and we said before the meaning of the word optical, that which is thick at the center as we see here in the picture and thin at the two tips. Just we are going to memorize it as we did before. So, and what about the concave lens that we are going to study it in details this episode? It's a type of transparent optical piece which is thin as we see here in the picture, thin in the middle, and is more thicker at the two sides. And as we did before, let's get a memorize ourselves from which parts that the lenses come. I said before that we have two spheres, and either the two spheres, if they are touching each other like we see here in the picture, we can get the concave lens. If they are intersecting together, we can get the other type, which is the convex lens. Today we are going to study in details the images forms in this case, which is the concave lens. Let's see now how can we see the images formed in the concave lens. Let's go and see where the position we are going to put. As we said before, we are going, in each cases of the concave or convex lenses, we are going to study in which position we are going to put the object. Here in this case, we have a certain case which is alone. It's a case حالة منفردة, in which whatever we put the object, we can see the images in the same place. Let's go and see together how can we draw it together. Let's memorize together. Get a paper and a pencil and a ruler and start to draw with me this case very easily. And memorize that we are going, whatever we are going to put the object, we are going to see the image in the same place. Let's go and see how. Let's see now how can we start to draw the image forms in this case of the lens. We said before that if we start to draw, we are going to know where we are going to put the object. And here in this case, whatever we put the object, you have the free way to put your object. But at the beginning, this is our lens, which is the convex lens, and we are going to put here is the pole, is the center of vision, and here is the focus. And we know before we have two focus because it's the intersection or the touching. Here in this case, the two spheres are touching together, so we get this type of lens. And we have two center of curvature, either in this shape or in this shape. Now, I'm going to put my object here. I choose to put my object here. This is the object. Okay? And make sure that you are going to use the pencil and ruler and start to draw your object. And before we leave the drawing, you have to write object as we did before. Then, I said before, in the lenses, the light will refract. But this kind of lens, تعمل diverging or converging, it forms diverging. Let's see how. from the top of the object, start to get a parallel ray to the principal axis. As I explained before, you have to reach the middle of the lens. Then start to put the arrow for the incident light ray. So what happens to the light ray here? It will refract. Type refraction here, how? Diverging or converging? Diverging. Let's memorize what's meant by diverging. Diverging means separating or scattering away. تعالوا نشوف ازاي. Here is the refraction. And don't forget to write to put the arrow. So here the first ray passing in the middle of the lens, then it starts to refract, but in which way? In the way of diverging. Okay. طيب اتفقنا ان احنا this is the first ray. طب the second ray, always we got the ray passing by the center of vision or the optical center. We said this point is the center of vision or the optical center. How? طب what happens to this ray? بيحصل له ايه؟ passes without any refraction. بيمر عادي جدا. Let's see how. This is the second ray from the same point as I said before. And adjust your ruler. يلا معايا نرسم. يلا. Here is my second ray. طب I missed something? Yes, you have to put the ray. Here the ray passing without any refraction. طيب here if I want to get an image, how can I get an image? By intersection of the refracted rays. طيب أنا عندي intersection هنا من أي حتة. أنا ممكن أعمل intersection. How? Here is the first reflected ray. So I get an extension كده. And then I start to adjust my ruler and make an extension. اتفقنا قبل كده. Extension dotted lines until I reach the principal axis. ما سيبش البنسل غير لما اوصل للprincipal axis. Then here I have an intersection. Yes, I have an intersection. So start to put the head of the arrow like here. Then start to put the image. Yes, this is my image. Okay, then I start, as we said before, write image. Why? To be easily good, so I can differentiate between the object and the image. طيب, let's see now. Can you tell me what is the position of the image here? يلا تعودنا ان احنا we are not going to memorize the position. We can get it easily from the drawing. Here the position of the image. أول مرة يطلع لي الimage beside the object. كنا على طول بنشوف الimage in the other side. In the other case of the previous lens اللي هي كانت الconvex lens بنلاقي الimage on the other side. But here is the only case that the image is beside the object. طيب يبقى ده الposition. Here the image is beside the object. طب what about the properties of the image? Let's see هنا الproperties. احنا قلنا you can conclude the properties from the image. It's upright. Excellent. Upright معدولة. Number 2, it's what? قلنا upright. So it's what على طول? It's virtual image. Excellent. قلنا virtual, it's مع upright. And what about its size? It's minimized, very small. So it's واضحة جدا إن الobject is long and the image is very small or minimized. Then let's now, you can draw it carefully and draw it alone. Let's, after the session, after the episode, we are going to try to draw it again together. Now, let's go and see other parts of our lesson. Okay, let's now revise what we saw in the drawing. We put the object in any position in front of the concave lens, and then we saw that the image زي ما شايفين قدامنا position of the image is the same side of the object, and we discussed together the properties of the image formed as it is virtual, upright, and minimized. Now we are going to start a very nice part which is concerning to the lenses and relation of lenses with the vision. As I said before, what's the meaning of vision? Vision in I can see anything. We said before that the vision how can I see the object around me? That the light falls on my eyes and then reflects, light falls in the object and reflects to my eyes so we can see the object. Today we are going to see what's the meaning of vision and what is the vision, how it's formed. At the beginning, let's go together and see the structure of the eye. Now let's see the structure of the eye. Before starting to know the vision in details, we have to know the structure of our eyes. By the way, it's not concerning to you ان انت memorize او تحفظ الشكل بس, you have to know it عشان نفهم منها how the vision occur. This is the structure of our eye, consists of this shape, and this is our pupil. Pupil اللي هو colored part like black or brown or blue. This is the pupil, and behind the pupil there is a lens. And did you recognize now? Do you recognize that it has which shape? It's a convex lens. يعني our eye is a kind of convex lens, and the outer part is called cornea. يبقى cornea and the lens. بعد الcornea في lens of the eye which is convex lens, and we have a part which is behind ورا خالص is called retina. والretina ده is a very important part لأن ده part which the image is formed on it. And we have the optic nerve that I said it before. It's a very big nerve that connected to the brain اللي بيوصل المessages of the vision to the brain. يبقى again we have the cornea which is the part that اللي احنا بنشوفه white part in our eyes, and the colored part which is called pupil, and behind this pupil we have lens of our eye which is convex lens as you see here, and internally we have a part which is very important part called retina. Let's focus now على الretina. Type and the optic nerve. From this structure we can know together how does the vision occur. طب أنا بشوف أي object حواليا إزاي. Let's see now that the light rays, if it is fall on our eye, on the object, and then it reflected to the eyes. تعالوا كده follow the journey of the light rays on the eyes. Number one, the light rays reflected from the body. Any body, like the lamp, like whatever. Let's see here in the drawing. This is a body. And this is the light rays that coming from the bulb. Then it falls where? It passes from the cornea of the eye. The first part that the light rays بتقابله هي الcornea, which is the white part of your eyes. And then it will reach the lens. And I said it's a convex lens. What happens when the light rays falling on the lens? It will refract. After the refraction, the image will formed here on the retina. الإيمج ما مش بتلاقي مكان خالص، يعني عشان أنا أشوف I can see the image it must be on the retina. Before the retina or behind the retina we can't see the object carefully وهنشوف ده later on. So this is the image type. Now you are going to see it's inverted and it's minimized. احنا بنشوف الأجسام inverted and minimized. No, we see it in its real shape and its real size. How? After this image will form, the optic nerve will send a message to the brain. يبعت message كده to the brain. يقول له إيه؟ Correct this image. Recorrect this image. So the brain will correct the image so all of us we can see the object in its size, real size, and it's upright, not inverted. And this is what he said. يبقى the light ray reflected from the body to fall in the eye, then it refracts. When it refracts, after passing by the lens. هتعدي من الكورنيا, then the lens, and then it will refract it. Then what happens? Then an image will form. شكلها ايه الإيمج؟ اهي real, inverted, and minimized or diminished. طب what happens then? The optic nerve will transmit a message to the brain, so the brain will recorrect this image to become what? To become erect or upright, and it's in real size. And this is what happened inside your eyes. Okay? طيب. Before we start to see طيب if the image is formed in front or behind. I said now in the retina, this is the place of the image, المكان اللي الإيمج عشان I can see it very well in its size وكويس قوي من غير أي hesitation, it will be on the retina. طيب. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Look with me, this is the normal eye with the diameter of the eye. Let's see together, if I have this thin lens, it's a convex lens, but one is thin and the other is thick. طب what is the difference thin and thick? The difference here in something which is called convexity. Convexity. What's meant by convexity? يعني الشكل المدور ده هنا زاد عن هنا، دي thin, so it has less convexity، مش مكورة كده قوي. Here it's more convexity, so it's thick. طيب I'm going to ask you a question. Which one from your consideration has a long focal length? I said before, what's the meaning of focal length? Distance between the center of vision or the optical center and the focus. Huh? Think. Let's see which one. This is the focal length of the thin lens. Let's see the focal length of the thick lens. Okay. يبقى which one has the long focal length? Of course, the thin one. While the thick one has a short focal length. يبقى لما يقول لي what happens if the convexity of the lens increases? Remember that we're going to use it later. What happens if the convexity increases? What happens? The focal length will decrease. So in this question, of course, you know the answer. The thin lens has long focal length because as the convexity of the lens decreases، يعني دي أقل من دي في الconvexity وباينة دي كبيرة شوية. So يبقى here the focal length will increase, and you have to put this part in your consideration because you are going to use it later after a while. Now let's see how can we use this practice in some kinds of defects of vision, which is our core of our lesson of today. Today we are going to use to know that we have some defects in the vision. What's the meaning of defects in the vision? Defects mean it's not a disease. The difference between كلمة disease and defects. Defects يعني something which is wrong in the vision. Sometimes بعض الناس, if we're going to read, I want to put the book nearer to my eyes, and some of us needs to put the book far from our eyes. Today we are going to know what are the differences between the two cases, which are the vision defects. Now we are going to discuss the vision defects. How many vision defects we have? We have two types of vision defects. Either the first one is called short-sightedness, short-sightedness, and the other one is called long-sightedness. We have two defects, either short and long-sightedness. We are going to start with the short-sightedness. In each case of those cases, we are going to know why it happens and how the causes of this short or long-sightedness, and how we are going to treat it. Before we are going to treat it, how can we see the images in those two cases? Let's start with the first one, which is the short-sightedness. As I explained before, شكل الآي. طب تعالوا نشوف الديفينيشن of short-sightedness ده هيكون إيه. Short-sightedness is a vision defect. يبقى you have to start your question, answer of your question with it's a type of vision defects اللي بيحصل فيه إيه. Through which we can see the near objects only. يعني if I put something near to me, I can see it. But if I want to see a sign of the bus or number of something which is far from me, I can't see it very well. ده اسمه short-sightedness. يعني أشوف الحاجة القريبة أنا I can see the far objects. It's called أنا عندي defect. It's not a disease, called short-sightedness. يبقى what's the definition of it? It's a kind of defects on vision in which we can see near objects clearly, but the far object we can see it distorted. What's meant by distorted؟ يعني unclear، بشوفها مش واضحة، بشوفها بس hesitated، مش واضحة، كأن عليها مش مظبطة قوي. طيب let's go and see why we can see this image is distorted اللي هي الفار object. I said before when I'm explaining the eye that the normal eye lens عندنا فيها الشكل ده، كانت الاي بتاعتنا النورمال، عندنا ريتنا وعندنا كورنيا وعندنا لانس. اوكي طب if the diameter of the eyeball، بسمي كل الشكل ده eyeball، الايبول بتاعت النورمال بيرسون لها diameters معينه. if the eyeball diameter we know before the diameter يعني زي الشكل بتاع السفير، ازاي اقيس الديستنس من بوينت لبوينت، ده اسمه الدايمتر. لو حصل ان الدايمتر of the eyeball increases، زاد عن النورمال بيرسون، لما تيجي الايمج to be formed هتتكون فين؟ before ولا after the retina؟ اكيد هتتفورم in front of the retina، so هتبقى مشوشه مش باينه كويس قوي. يبقى the first reason of the short-sightedness هو increasing of the eyeball. So if the eyeball increases, what happens? The retina will be far from the eye lens. لما بيزيد الايبول الريتنا هتبعد عن الاي لينس. So in this case الobject image will be in front of the retina، وده مش هينفع، هتبقى شكلها مش مظبوط. طيب the second reason of the short-sightedness is related to the convexity of the lens as we said before في البراكتس. هيحصل if the convexity of the eye lens increases، زادت الانكريز بتاعها. طب زي ما شفنا في البراكتس اللي فات what happens to the focal length؟ the focal length will be short، يعني focal length will be short and the diameter of the eyeball increases so the retina هتبقى close to the eye lens. so أو ولا far؟ لا it's far، يبقى الريتنا far والfocal length short. so الإيمج لما هتيجي تتكون let's see how. This leads to that the light rays، لأنه نشوف مع بعض الرسمة ازاي اللايت ريز بتتكون. ادي اللايت ريز بدأت دي far light rays، أنا كده كأني بشوف far object، sign of the bus، بس جاي من بعيد، أي حاجة جاية من بعيد. so this is the light rays coming from the far object. It start to fall on my eye. Let's step by step together. So this is the eye. Okay, so this is the house that I want to see it. شوفوا هنا اللايت ريز مشيت وصلت للكونفكس لينس اوف ماي اي. طيب الكونفكس لينس دي نورمال؟ هي هنا نورمال؟ لا اتس نوت نورمال، الكونفكسيتي بتاعتها كبيره. سو الفوكال لينس بتاعها ماله؟ شورت فوكال لينس. سو what happens here to the image? The image will be formed behind the retina ولا in front the retina? So the light rays coming from the far objects are collected in front of the eye retina، قدام الريتنا. طب الطبيعي، المكان الطبيعي ان انا الايمج it will be formed on the retina. لو هي in front of the retina فانا هشوف ايه؟ I can see the near object very clear but the far object I can see it hesitated distorted مش مظبوط unclear like this house. انا كده الصورة بتاعت الهاوس مش شايفاها كويس. يبقى لما الايبول diameter increase الريتنا will be away from the coming away from the object from the lens. so في الحالة ديت الإيمج will be formed in front of the retina. طيب how can we correct it؟ ازاي اعمل correction؟ let's see how. correction here we are going to use a type of lenses. نلبس نظارة. طب which type of lens we are going to use in this case؟ هنا correction by using a concave lens. طب هتعمل ايه concave lens؟ أنا I said before concave lens بتعمل diverging of the light rays. Let's see how. Here it's my eye. أنا عندي short-sightedness. عايزة أقرب الحاجات البعيدة أشوفها. So I will put a glass. Let's see how. هحط الجلاس بتاعتي. This is my glass. طب let's see the rays. الريز هتبتدي تنزل. مرت الأول على الكونكيف lens that I wear it اللي هي الجلاسز. Then what happens to it? It will refract. Refract, but how? Diverging, بعدت. Then it will fall on my lens الطبيعية اللي هي عندها defect. Then let's see the image here. It will form on the retina. So شوفوا الhouse. I can see the house very well. So now if he asked you how the correction of the short-sightedness, how can I correct it? I correct it by using glasses which is the lens بتاعتها نوعها ايه؟ concave lens. طيب from this part عندنا give reason. طيب why the concave lens is used to correct the short-sightedness? Why? من اسمها because it diverge the coming light rays that falls on the eye retina. So we can see the image just on the retina. So we are going to correct this defect. يبقى now we know what is the shape of the normal eye with the normal diameter and the normal convexity of the eye lens, and we explained the short-sightedness, and inshallah next episode we are going to know the other defects which is the long-sightedness. Okay, thank you so much for your good listening, and let's meet together in the second episode, and goodbye.